diagnosed with stage 3 ovarian cancer at 30 years old. Here was my only symptom. You're not going to want to miss this. The symptom that led to my ovarian cancer diagnosis, it wasn't bloating or constipation. It wasn't pain or something that shows up on an official list of ovarian cancer symptoms. But understanding this nuance could save your life. I'm Dr. Amy, and I was diagnosed with ovarian cancer at the age of 30 years old, right after my wedding, right as life was just beginning. In this video, I'm answering all of your questions about what led to my ovarian cancer diagnosis. I want to share this story in a way that answers all the questions I wish I had known before I was diagnosed with cancer. Because catching ovarian cancer early, it can save your life. This is the part that shocks most people. It wasn't bloating, it wasn't pain, it wasn't changes in my period, it was heartburn. Constant and unexplained heartburn. It didn't matter what I ate. I had never had heartburn before in my life, and now here it was daily. I was constantly eating Tums. I was keeping them in the drawer of my desk. At first, I brushed it off. I mean, I had just come back from our honeymoon. We had spent 2 weeks in Italy and Greece. We had ate cheese and pasta. We had drank wine. We did all the things that anyone should do in Italy and Greece. It would make sense, right? I ate all of these different foods. I would be feeling different. But here's the truth. I knew deep down something inside of me wasn't right. What made me finally go to the doctor was my intuition. I had this nagging feeling that something was off. I just couldn't shake it. So I booked an appointment with my family doc. Even though heartburn doesn't seem that serious, I was fully expecting her just to tell me not to worry about it or prescribe me a heartburn medication. But I pushed ahead and I went to the doc, even though I wanted to believe it was just because I was traveling and out of my normal habit, or I wanted to believe that it would just go away on its own. Something deep down inside of me just kept whispering, you need to pay attention. I didn't have weight loss. I didn't have pain with sex. I didn't have any of the textbook symptoms, but I had that intuition. I had that inner voice. And that is what I want you to hear. Listen for your intuition. If something feels off, do not wait. You do not need permission to advocate for yourself. It was highly likely that my doc was going to be dismissive or tell me not to worry about it. But I knew something was wrong. So I went to the doc and they investigated the heartburn. She ordered blood tests and scans, and to her credit, thought, let's just get an ultrasound of your abdomen. And that's where I eventually found a tumor on my ovary. It required immediate surgery, and I was diagnosed at stage 3 ovarian cancer. I was 30 years old. I was newly married. We had just bought our first house. And in one day, all that forward momentum, all that hope, it was replaced with fear and shock. This was a diagnosis I never saw coming. So first up was surgery, intensive surgery to remove the tumor and the affected tissues. I had 35 staples down my abdomen to put me back together. And believe it or not, the surgery was the easy part. I was in great physical shape when I was diagnosed with cancer. I had always been athletic. I always ate well. I lifted weights. I worked out. And this is what helped me bounce back from surgery so quickly. But next, I needed chemo. Chemo was brutal. I only wish I knew what I know now. You can eliminate chemo or cancer treatment side effects. You just need to have the right strategy. And now, 8 years later, this is exactly what I help women do inside of the Cancer Freedom Program. You can apply to work with me directly by clicking the link below this video. Go now and apply, because whether you've just been diagnosed, in treatment, or even years out from your diagnosis, now is the time to take action. If you wait, cancer can only get worse. I had rounds of intensive chemotherapy. This was designed to kill any of the lingering cancer cells. It was exhausting. My number one side effect was extreme fatigue. I was laid up on the couch or in bed for days on days. But you can largely control or eliminate the exhaustion from cancer or cancer treatment just by using a nutrient-driven diet. If you want more information on that, click the link below and apply to work with me. But it's more than just exhaustion. The chemo caused hot flashes and joint pain. It caused nausea. But honestly, I expected to feel awful while I was on chemo treatment. The hardest part of cancer was not the surgery, it was not the chemo, it was the part that came after. Nobody prepares you for how long it's going to take to recover from cancer. When treatment ends, people expect you to go back to normal, but you're not. You're physically wrecked. You're emotionally fried. The side effects can linger for months to years unless you take action and do something about it. People mistakenly think that time heals all wounds, but that is not the case when it comes to cancer recovery. And worst of all, once you finish your cancer treatment, you finally have space and bandwidth to really think about what just happened to you. That's when the emotional weight, it hits you. The fear of recurrence, the trauma, the grief, and mourning the life you had before cancer. Everyone says, you must be so relieved that treatment's over. You're all good now, right? But that's when you still feel lost, scared, and anxious. Now, when I was diagnosed with cancer, I was very fortunate to already have a background in cancer research. I was already working in the oncology field for years when I was diagnosed. I knew I couldn't just wait to bounce back. I had to start taking active measures to heal. So I built a strategic cancer recovery and remission plan. And don't get me wrong, this took me months of research, months of trial and error, months until I finally figured out a strategy that actually worked. Then I wasn't sure, was it just a fluke or was this actually the right strategy? So I tried it for weeks on weeks and months on months, and it worked again and again. And then I thought, is it just me? Or is this strategy actually going to work for others? So then I started using it with cancer survivors who reached out to me for support. And then I started to use it for patients that came into my clinic, and it worked for all of them too. And that is still the exact framework and strategy that I use inside the Cancer Freedom Program. It's the most cutting-edge science, continuously updated and built so it's proven to work. Because after cancer, you need to focus on restoring your energy, rebuilding your immune system, rebuilding lean muscle mass that you lost during surgery and chemo, and managing your mindset, getting rid of that fear and anxiety. Because recovery is not just physical, it's mental. It's emotional. It's your entire life trying to find your footing again and trying to figure out who you are now after cancer. Now, understandably, my symptoms of ovarian cancer were unique to me. It's critical to know about it, but there are a lot of other symptoms of ovarian cancer too. And most women miss them until it's too late. You may have heard of the common signs and symptoms, things like bloating, pelvic pain, changes in your bathroom habits, constipation, diarrhea, or having pain during sex. But that's only part of the picture. The truth is, the most dangerous part of ovarian cancer is that the symptoms and signs, they are so vague. They're so vague that they're easily ignored. And what actually makes matters worse is that there's no reliable screening tools for ovarian cancer. A Pap test does not screen for ovarian cancer. There's not a blood test, not even the CA-125. And this is a huge misconception. The CA-125 blood test can be elevated because of ovarian cancer, but it can also be totally normal. One of the clients I work with inside the Cancer Freedom Program had a completely normal CA-125 when she was diagnosed with a recurrence. She had rotating scans, a CT scan, an ultrasound, an MRI, plus regular CA-125 checks. Her recurrence was absolutely not picked up on her blood work. Her CA-125 was completely normal. It was the routine ultrasound that caught the tumor. So no, the CA-125 is not a reliable screening test. It's just one tool that may help. That's why your best defense against ovarian cancer is actually listening to your body, listening to the symptoms, even the ones that seem too small to matter. So here's what I want every woman to understand. Do not wait for a test to save you. There's no reliable screening test for ovarian cancer. You must be your own best advocate. That weird symptom, that voice inside of you that's telling you something is off, listen to it. Don't ignore it. And if you find your doctor dismisses you, then look for another doctor. Keep going. Heartburn saved my life. Not because it was just heartburn, because I listened to it, because I trusted myself enough to speak up. That instinct could save your life too. So whether you're a cancer survivor or thriver, a caregiver, or just someone who's looking to stay your healthiest ever, you need to watch out for these symptoms. Okay, but if you're ready to take the next step forward and really build out a plan that's going to help you recover and stay cancer-free, then you need to watch this next video here. I'm linking this up for you here, so click the link here and I'll see you in the next video.